The world's a dangerous place. Get the industry's original and most trusted laser sighting system from Crimson Trace. A laser and light systems will enhance your effectiveness and help keep you and your family out of harm's way.
Today on Gun Talk, the founder of the Post program, created to directly address the threat posed by an active shooter in schools. Also, a new promotion from Walther Arms, plus your questions and comment. Call now, 866-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
All righty, it's time to talk about guns, because it's Gun Talk. Guns, ammo, optics. I don't care what you want to talk about. If it involves guns, we are here. As long as you talk about using guns safely and responsibly, of course. A lot of things going on out there. We've got a lot of things to talk about. We'll be talking about, well, guns in schools. Yeah, sometimes a good thing. We'll be talking certainly about that. One of the things I'd like to get, we're at that time of year when people are getting ready to go out hunting or starting to think about deer, elk, whatever. I'd love to get your sighting in stories. You go to the range and either problems, situations, things that you have had or you have seen. We probably have all seen interesting things out there. I'd love to get that sighting in story from you. Also, we'll be talking about, well, I did an ice bucket challenge. And you can check that one out. We'll talk a little bit about what we did there. We're a little bit overboard. That's okay. And also, is there a way that we can lose in our effort to win on gun rights? Can we truly afford to alienate people who are gunnies, who are gun rights supporters, who want to be in our fight, but we call them names and drive them away? Is that smart politics? A question for you. We'll get to that. If you'd like to join us, our number is very simple. It's 866-TALK-GUN or just dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. We're active on Twitter at Gun Talk, and I'll be over there during the show if you want to join me there. Of course, you can always shoot me an email directly, tom@guntalk.com. Let's talk a little bit about the idea of guns in schools. And as you probably know, there are a number of places around the country where it is legal now for teachers to have guns in school, for other people to have guns in schools. And joining us right now to talk about what they've been doing, it's a great program, really got started in Ohio, Joe Kalil from the Post School program. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, how did you get to this? You're a shooter, I guess, from some time back. So what led you to this?
Well, I was a military officer. I served in 4 combat zones, and I'm an airline pilot, and I've always been an avid shooter. But 9/11 energized me to get more involved in the shooting world, and now I'm an instructor. I own a firearm training school. I'm a law enforcement officer, firearms instructor for law enforcement, 2 agencies. But then the second wake-up call was Newtown. When Newtown occurred, and we saw 20 young children and 6 teachers get killed with a 4-minute police response time, I said to myself, we need to do something. So I approached our local sheriff, and actually I do live in northern Kentucky, real close to Ohio, but I'm actually in Kentucky. And we approached the sheriff, and I proposed a program to try to protect our students and teachers in school, and we went from there.
Okay, we should explain that when you say a 4-minute response time, some people are thinking, wow, why did it take so long? And you and I are thinking, that's actually a really, really good response time, isn't it?
It is a fantastic response time, but there's a lot that takes place when you have a response time. The response time, they have to figure out, the layout of the school, where the shooter is, how many shooters there are, what direction to go. It's a confusing incident to respond to.
Well, and as I tell people, I say, look, I understand from a bureaucratic, from a procedural, from a policy standpoint, 4 minutes is a really fast response time. And it is very quick unless somebody is beating on you with a crowbar or unless someone is shooting children, and then 4 minutes is forever. And so what your program is designed to do, from what I understand, is to fill in that 4 minutes and stop them before, basically to stop the attack as quickly as possible. Is that correct?
Well, let's talk about that just for a second, because what you're touching on is the whole focus of the program. It's one word. It's time. When those seconds count, the police are only minutes away, and I've heard that comment on this show before, and it's not a hit on the police at all. But let's face this. When a gunman enters a classroom with a rifle, shotgun, or a pistol to kill people, do you know who the first responders truly are? It's those teachers. Like it or not, they are the first responders, armed or not armed. And what we're saying is, if you take off the no gun sign and put up a sign that says teachers and staff at this school are trained and armed, we think the shooting will not even occur in the first place, because the gunman's not going there for a gunfight. If he was, he'd go to the gun store or the sheriff's office. But he's going there to get a high victim count. So we need to secure our schools, and there's responsible ways to do so.
What has been the reaction? I mean, you came up with this idea. You said, let's go to the schools and start talking about training teachers. What kind of pushback did you get?
Well, good news and bad news. The good news is, if you look big picture nationwide, I mean, we do have 9 states that we know of right now that actually have armed school employees. We have multiple states that allow a program such as this. I would like to make a shout out to Ohio, because the Buckeye Firearms Association has done a fantastic job. They have between 30 and 50 school systems right now that have some kind of armed school employees. But we're here in Kentucky, one state away, and nothing against Ohio. It's a great state, but I think Kentucky's more conservative and more gun friendly, and we have no schools that have actually armed school employees. And so here locally, the good news is we have 3 public schools and 2 public schools and 3 private schools that have interest in it. The bad part is the bureaucracy, and I can't say that word with enough emphasis. The bureaucracy of the Kentucky school system is against the program, even though they haven't sat down and actually listened to the details.
What do you mean they won't actually listen to you? They won't give you an audience?
That's correct. The school bureaucracy is against it. Even certain individual school boards, the county I'm in, only 2 of the 5 school board members have actually been willing to sit down and actually just listen to the program details. And yet the whole school board and the system fought the program, even though less than half of them even know the details of the program. I find from an educational system, that kind of closed-mindedness is ridiculous, because here's what I fear the most. I fear some more school shootings, and school just started, and you know as well as I do, unfortunately, the statistics indicate we're going to have some school shootings this year, and we don't want that scene of parents wailing in the street, because the thing that is most precious to us, which is our children, have been killed because the schools won't even consider, they won't even objectively listen to other options that will protect their children.
Now, you're a law enforcement officer. Talk for a second about the reaction you get when you do this in a school program and you work with the local law enforcement. What is the reaction or the thought process of local law enforcement to these kind of programs?
Well, it's funny. When we actually get the opportunity to sit down with law enforcement and talk to them about the program, you do have your people in law enforcement that believe that only law enforcement officers should have guns. We both know there are people out there like that. Sure. However, in this area, all the 4 local sheriffs, when I did a presentation to the public and the media and to the school system, not the school system formally, it was just basically an open-ended presentation on it, 4 sheriffs were sitting up on a stage with me, and there were 2 chiefs of police in the audience that supported the program. I do want to note that there's some interesting dynamics between the sheriff's office and the chief of police, in the respect that the sheriffs are elected by the people, and they seem to be a little bit more bold about speaking out in support of a program like this. I have 3 chiefs of police actually that are really supportive of the program, but because of the political dynamics of working for a city council and a mayor, they're unwilling to come out publicly and actually say that they support it because of the dynamics of politics.
Could you move? I mean, I'm thinking about how politics works. City councilmen, whatever, mayors, they stick their fingers in the wind and they see which way the wind is blowing. So I'm thinking that maybe you muster support through the citizenry, through parents, by going directly to them and having them apply pressure. Would that work?
And actually, that's the approach we had. We have brought this to the people, and I really honestly believe way more than half the parents and teachers actually support the program. However, the school system, and some school systems can be very liberal, are so against just the thought of a gun in school. Some of them just cannot get over that emotional hurdle that's what we're talking about. They just can't process that. And the school system came out and did a safety workshop and had like 15 state organizations show up and speak against the program. Again, none of these organizations have ever sat down and listened to a program briefing on the Post program or any other program similar. So they have aligned themselves against the program, even though I think the people themselves actually want the program.
And, of course, as you say, well, what are you going to do if and when this happens? They say, well, we're going to call and ask somebody with a gun to come help us.
Right. It's amazing. I mean, there's other programs that demonstrate that something like this would be successful. I mean, we've had 9/11 occurred in 2001, and there's been thousands and thousands and thousands of airline pilots that have been carrying guns on airliners ever since, and there hasn't been any instances. It's a great program. Most people would get off an airplane and say, I'm glad I was on an airplane with an armed pilot, if indeed they had one. What we're doing here is we're using the people. This is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. The Founding Fathers intended for the people to be sovereign. The solution can be the people. And so when you only take 5 or 10% of your teachers and staff, and it's not just teachers, it's people, school employees, not just teachers, and you actually screen them, train them, continue to requalify them and have oversight on the program, and they carry a concealed firearm that nobody even knows that they're carrying, and their identities are held secret, you only 5 to 10% will establish a deterrent from the shooting from even occurring in the first place. And if the shooting did occur, now we can have a response possibly in seconds instead of minutes.
Where can people find out more about your program, Joe?
Well, the website is www.postky.org. And, when we first started this, we were focused on Kentucky, so that's why KY is in there for Kentucky. But there are many, many, many states in the nation that would allow, the laws that would allow the school board to approve a program like this. We do have a Twitter and a Facebook account. Our website gives an outline of the course contents. We're recommending a 5 to 5.5 day training program. There's screening. You can see on the website the screening, the interview, the application, the background check, getting a concealed carry permit, and then going through the course. So it's like 60-some hours worth of training. I mean, that's a lot of training. And the only focus of the training is how to interdict an active shooter. There's no other miscellaneous distractions. So, but that's where they can find out more information is postky.org.
Postky.org. And then I would also tell people while you're at it, do a little Googling for the stopwatch of death, and that's when you're going to really figure out what the heck's going on and why you need this. Joe, keep pushing, man. I'm there with you. We need this. And as a grandparent, I want my grandkids to be at a school where there are people who are armed who can intervene immediately and not wait for 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes for somebody with a gun to show up. Just way to go, man. We'll keep going.
Thank you, sir.
All righty, 866-TALK-GUN. We're open lines. What's on your mind? I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
You bet your life on your defense ammo. Get the proven performance of Nosler bullets in the new Nosler Defense Ammunition, featuring the same technology as the famous AccuBond line. Polymer tip or hollow point, bonded performance handgun bullets for weight retention and barrier penetration. Available only in Nosler Defense Ammunition in 9mm, 40, and 45 caliber. Also available in 223 with a 64 grain bullet. Visit Nosler.com.
The Ruger LC380 is the perfect pairing of the award-winning LC9 pistol and the popular .380 auto cartridge. The LC380 is the same size as the LC9, yet offers reduced recoil, making it Ruger's lightest recoiling personal protection pistol yet. It features a dovetailed high-visibility 3-dot sight system, 7-round magazine and finger grip extension floor plate, manual safety, and loaded chamber indicator. The Ruger LC380, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Successful hunters know big bucks move early and late, often when it's too dark for common scopes. When that monster steps out, you might see him through the scope, but the crosshairs disappear. All that work and you can't take the shot. But with the Trijicon AccuPoint scope, you'll get the shot. Its bright aiming point glows in daylight or darkness. No batteries needed. AccuPoint scopes are water-resistant and nitrogen-filled, feature multi-layer coated lenses for the brightest image, And you can adjust brightness of the aiming point to match the conditions. Adding 10 or 15 minutes to each end of the day can double the magic moments when the trophies move. You can't hit the target if you can't see the sights. Trijicon AccuPoint Scopes. Check out the different models at Trijicon.com or call 1-800-338-0563. Brilliant aiming solutions from Trijicon.
Tired of paying for one concealed carry holster after another that's flimsy, hard to hide, or just plain uncomfortable? Alien Gear holsters feature a super stealthy and ultra comfortable design. Our professional quality holsters are backed by an ironclad triple guarantee, including a free 30-day test drive, free shell trades for life, and a forever warranty. Starting at just $29.88, you won't find a better quality or better price holster on the planet. Any planet. Go to aliengearholsters.com to get yours now.
In the dark about which firearm is best for self and family defense? Call Tom now for great suggestions for your purchase and a lifetime of insight regarding the safe handling, operating, and storage of your new addition. Now, once again, Tom Gresham.
I have a question for you. Do you ever have a gun that you just don't really like? You take it out and you go, yeah, it's not quite what I'm looking for. It's okay. It's not great. It's okay. Or a gun that doesn't work exactly all the time, or something about it bothers you. Either get it fixed or get rid of it. Because we were talking about this before the show. Every time you pick it up and every time you take it to the range, it's going to PO you. You're just going to go, this stupid gun. It needs to belong to someone else at that point. Because there are a lot of guns out there that are going to make you happy, okay? So if you have one that when you take it out, for whatever reason, you don't like it, what are you doing? Sell it. There's somebody you can sell it to, trade it, do something, but get you one you like. My heavens, we have lots of choices these days. All right, 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. Line 3, Dewey's with us out of Oklahoma. Dewey, what you been reading?
Well, on the bulletin board at work was an article that was evidently cut out of a magazine, and the title of the article is, the section is Downrange. It's by Todd Woodward. Mm-hmm. And the title of it says, Google to block firearms ads.
Correct.
And I have the whole, 1 or 2 paragraph article here if you...
No, I'm familiar with the story. I mean, Google is blocking ads for firearm sales. We don't know what they're doing as far as searches yet, but Google has a strong anti-gun bias, and they're blocking ads. They won't allow ads on Google. You can't do the AdWords things for guns. We're seeing this all over the place, frankly. We're seeing banks that remove their services from and fire their clients if they're firearms based. We see an awful lot of things going on out there. It is a form of bigotry that would not be allowed if they were doing that to any identifiable group, ethnic group, immigration group, whatever group, sexual preference group. But they can do it to firearm owners. So, but no, this is actually not even a news story. And Todd Woodward, by the way, is a good writer. He's the editor of Gun Test. But yeah, this information about Google has been out there for a while. This is not new. This has been out for months now. What's it mean to you and me? Not a lot. So go ahead.
He says they're going to implement this in September, and of course, Google owns YouTube. So a lot of those videos that we like to watch and inform us on different things, they may be cut off also.
Well, we don't know that yet, and I don't know that that's going to be the case because they're just talking about selling guns. So we don't know, but yeah, that's certainly a concern. And the problem is, and I think you have pretty much identified, is that Google is so large. It's as though the internet or your local cable system just said, well, you know what? We're not going to allow you to even send emails about guns, or we're not going to allow you to watch television shows about guns. It's that kind of pervasive thing. What are you people at work saying?
I've not talked to a lot of people at work about this, and I didn't really know. I'm not familiar with Todd Woodward, before or anything, and I thought, well, if Google does that, I'll just go to DuckDuckGo, and I went to DuckDuckGo and started to find a YouTube, and that's how I found out that Google owns YouTube.
Yeah, it's an issue, and those of us who have, as we do, we have a YouTube channel with hundreds of videos about guns and shooting. We're keeping an eye on it. Now, that's also the reason we have kept alive our other website, guntalk.tv, which is a separate website, has nothing to do with YouTube, but we have hundreds and hundreds of videos over at guntalk.tv. So that way, if something happened and if YouTube did crater for gun videos, we would still have our site going over there. But right now, we're running double systems, and we put them on both of them. Listen, I appreciate the call, Dewey. Thank you. It's a heads up for all of us. I don't know where this thing's going to go. I really don't. All right, let's go to line 4. Miles is in Reno, Nevada. Hello, Miles.
Hello. Google, you may have enslaved half the world, but you're still a damn fine search engine. I think it was Lisa Simpson who said that. But, yeah, I had a story about sighting in rifles at a range. It's a pretty weird one.
Go for it.
I was at a rifle range in southern Idaho, outside of the town of Jerome. And I was just getting into guns, didn't know all that much about them. And these 3 guys drove up in a Prius. Still the only Prius I've ever seen at a shooting range. Mm-hmm. They unloaded this gun, looked like a Remington 700, and they painstakingly set up everything, and then they fired. It sounded like they were using artillery. After about 3 shots, I got curious and went over and asked what it was, and they said it's a 300 Remington Ultra Mag, and I asked, well, what are you going to do with it? And they said they were going to hunt pigs with it. And after a while, they stopped shooting, cleaned everything up, and went home. Looked like they were seasoning the barrel. But I asked them for a fired case for my collection. Uh-huh. Well, I was talking to a gunsmith friend of mine about it, and he looked at it, and he saw signs of, I think the term is primer flow or brass flow.
Brass flow,
the case was bulging. They were using loads that were right on the edge of blowing up, he said.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. People do that, and they don't know what to look for. If you're new into hand loading, this is one of the things you got to watch out for. And look, I appreciate the story. It's the stuff you see at ranges, public ranges, is amazing. If you're a hand loader, you need to know what pressure signs are. Also, stick to the published loads. Same primer, same case, same powder, same bullet. Don't change any of those factors, because when you do, you're now in an experimental mode and you have no idea what could happen.
Have you taken your family, friends, and kids shooting lately?
You're listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, and we'll be right back.
Want to be a guest on the show? Drop us a line at info@guntalk.com. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here, Tom Gresham. You can shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. Let's see, just got an email from Ron. Ron says he just bought a Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm, got the shield, M&P shield. Says, and he's confused. He's a new shooter. He says he sees cartridges labeled 9mm Luger and some that are labeled 9mm Parabellum. Which one can he shoot in his 9mm pistol? Ron, the answer is both, either, all. 9mm Luger and 9mm Parabellum is exactly the same cartridge, and it is confusing. For those of us who've been in it a long time, we kind of forget how strange the naming is of these cartridges, but 9mm Luger and 9mm Parabellum is exactly the same cartridge. Now, there are some other 9mm cartridges out there that are not the same, but if you go with a Parabellum or a Luger, you're going to be just fine. So just go enjoy. By the way, that's a very nice pistol. I really like that. Lots and lots of deals out there right now, by the way. It is the slow time of the selling season for gun makers, and as a result, there's some deals to be had out there. Walther's got a cool deal going with a package for the PPX. I'll be giving you a little bit more information about that as we go along. Let's see, who is it? Oh, Springfield Armory. They've got a deal going right now, their Springfield Dual program. You can go to Springfield Armory and check that out, DUEL, Dual. That's pretty sweet. A lot of things going on there. Also, Brownells, I just got an email from Frank, says, hey, thanks for the information on the discount at Brownells. I just saved $177, and I just did some numbers. Went, okay, it's a 10% off deal. So Frank spent $1,700 over there. Got some good stuff if you want that 10% deal. Oh, by the way, they've got a super sale going on their AR-15 magazines at Brownells. Really good mags, by the way, high-quality mags. They're listed at $9.99. How about another 10% off? Use the code GRX, Golf Romeo X-Ray, GRX. When you check out, you get 10% off on any order. Pretty cool. 866-TALK-GUN. Line 1, Robert in Grants Pass, Oregon. Thank you for your patience. Hey, Robert, what about this Second Amendment rewrite?
Good morning. I've heard on talk show when I was listening to you just recently, this last week, the lady come on there, she seemed to have authority what she was talking about, that they're rewriting the Second Amendment in the schools in Oregon, starting in the second grade, where basically the bottom line is, I'll just paraphrase it real quick, that the government tells you who can own guns and who can't own guns, and the certain types of guns that are completely, totally outlawed, and like our common guns, and they're telling these children in the second grade. What have you heard about it?
Well, yeah, there have been some school books have misinterpreted or misstated what the Second Amendment is. Specifically, sometimes they'll say, well, the Second Amendment says that the government has the right to have National Guard or militias, the state militias, and of course that's wrong. And no one is rewriting the Second Amendment, but I think you make an excellent point, which is all of us, all parents, need to be looking at the school work that is being brought home, and you need to be asking about what's being taught, specifically when it comes to the Second Amendment, because there are book publishers, there are school systems, and there are individual teachers who don't like the Second Amendment. They don't like what it actually is, so they lie. They lie to the children. They lie when they tell them what it is, because what they do is they tell them what they wish it were, not what it actually is. Specifically with the Heller and McDonald decisions, where the Second Amendment is an individual right, not a right for the state. By the way, the states don't have rights. Governments don't have rights. They have powers. We individuals are the only things that have rights. Okay, yeah. And then if you see that this is being done, you go to the school board. Not to the teacher, not to the principal. Take your information, take your evidence to the school board, the people who are elected. And you will often hear me talk about, have you gotten involved in the school board election? Because if you haven't, and you're upset with what's going on in the schools, then who do you blame? You get to pick who's on the school board. So you go to the school board and say, hey, this is what you guys are teaching. This is absolutely not the truth. This is not fact. It is a lie. You are teaching a lie. It's a good point. Thank you for that call, sir. You need to be paying attention to what's being taught to your children out there. All right, let's see here. Line 2, Jacob is in Georgia. Hello, Jacob. You're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom. I'm looking at getting a new 380 for concealed purposes, and I've been looking around, and I love an automatic that has a hammer on it.
Okay.
Am I just too old school thinking I have to have that hammer there? What's your opinion?
Well, let me ask you this. Why do you like a semi-auto that has a hammer?
I feel like I have a little bit more control when disarming it.
What do you mean?
In that aspect.
What do you mean you have control? You mean when you're uncocking it?
Well, like say when you're cocking it or uncocking it, the hammer, I've always had a pistol that's had a hammer on it, even in my automatic, my 9mm, and I've always had felt safe with that, being able to let the hammer down. But I see that most of the 380s nowadays, I haven't been able to find one that has a hammer on it even.
Well, when you have a pistol with a hammer on it, are you carrying it with the hammer back or the hammer down?
The hammer down.
And is it double action or single action?
Double action.
So you got the hammer down, and it's basically been decocked, and when you pull the trigger, it cocks the hammer.
Yes, sir.
I'm not seeing how that's any different from a striker-fired gun, a la Glock, Smith & Wesson M&P, Springfield Armory, XD. That is essentially like carrying the gun with the hammer down, but only with a little bit better trigger pull than a heavy double action. The other thing is, the ones you're describing probably have a double action pull on the first pull and then a single action trigger pull on the second pull. Right?
You're correct about it.
So now you've got to master two different kinds of trigger pulls in the heat of the battle. That's why a lot of people have gone to the polymer striker-fired guns, because you get the same trigger pull every time. I guess what I would say is, if you like it, fine. There's nothing wrong with liking a semi-auto that has a hammer, but there's also nothing at all beneficial about having a hammer. It's strictly a matter of personal preference. It's choice. I love my 1911s, and I carry them cocked and locked. I have the hammer back when I carry my 1911s with the safety on. I don't carry any hammer guns with the hammer down. I just don't. I never have been able to master a double action, single action trigger pull. People say, well, you just haven't tried. Yeah, well, you know what? I chose not to. Why would I want to try to master a system that I'm not real crazy about? So I just go, it's just personal preference. It's not better or worse. That's just all it is. It's just personal preference. So anyway, that's kind of where we are with that. 866 Talk Gun. Do you like semi-autos with hammers? I like some of them with hammers, but then I like some of them that don't have hammers. And it's a good point. Hammers can get hung up on clothes, I guess. I don't know. All right, got one coming up for you. Ever heard of storing ammo in dry ice? I don't know. What's on your mind? What gun are you thinking about getting? And if you've got a range report, you've been out to the range, shot something interesting, or seen something interesting, holler at us. 866 Talk Gun. Tom Gresham here. Be right back with more Gun Talk.
Accurate, powerful, consistent. At Double Tap Ammunition, we offer 364 loads in 83 calibers that give you exactly what you've been looking for. Try us out at www.doubletapammo.com and use the promo code GUNTALK for 10% off your order.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
Looking for shooting instruction but don't know where to go? Well, we have it, and you can access hours of training and safety videos, which you can watch on your home computer. On GunTalkTV.com, we have top competitive shooters, the best in self-defense trainers, and folks who have hunted all over the world, helping you learn which gun to buy, how to use it, how to store it safely, and everything else you need to be a safe and competent shooter. We also have gun makers showing off their newest rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran shooter or a complete beginner, you'll find what you need at GunTalkTV.com. You can check it out for free, and you can get full access for only $5.95 a month. That gives you unlimited access to hundreds of videos, and we're adding more all the time. Run the videos over and over to make sure you understand what's being said. Skip around. You're in control. Get smarter. Shoot better. Visit GunTalkTV.com.
Want to win a gun? Well, Springfield Armory has a great promotion going. They're giving away a bunch of guns and thousands of hot swag items like range bags, shirts, hats, and other great stuff. Vote for your favorite gun. The grand prize is a personal training session with 5-time world champion Rob Latham. Go to duel.springfield-armory.com. That's duel.springfield-armory.com. duel.springfield-armory.com.
At Double Tap Ammunition, we hand inspect every round that we make, and we use only the best components to give you the best ammunition on the market. Try us out at www.doubletapammo.com and use the promo code GUNTALK for 10% off your order.
Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. If Ben Franklin were alive today, he'd be listening to Gun Talk. Now, once again, here's Tom.
By the way, we have some success. I came up with this crazy idea last week, just a spur of the moment. We're talking about Chenine Allen, the mother of two who was arrested, put in jail for 40 days in New Jersey because she had a concealed carry permit in Pennsylvania, drove into New Jersey, got a traffic stop, volunteered the information just as she was told in her concealed carry class. Hey, I've got a concealed carry permit, I've got a pistol. She just had missed the fact that her Pennsylvania permit wasn't good in New Jersey. In jail for 40 days, he's out on bail, and the district attorney, rather than saying, yeah, we'll go put her into the diversionary program because we know that there's certainly was no intent here. It was just a mistake. It was a victimless crime. She didn't know. Pay a fine and we'll put you into this program and no problem. Oh, no. They're looking for a minimum of 3.5 years in prison and maybe as much as 10 years in prison for this woman that has no criminal record, had no intent, she volunteered the information. It's clearly just a misunderstanding, a mistake. And I said, why don't we, would it be good if we could put up like a billboard in Atlantic City where this is all taking place? And I said, would you guys help out with that? And wow, Gun Talk listeners, True Squad comes roaring in. I threw it out there and said, hey, all right, here's what we got. We have a system. Go to Second Amendment Foundation, SAF.org, make a donation, and in the comment box, put in their New Jersey billboard, NJ billboard program or project. We knew we needed at least a couple of thousand, maybe $3,000 to get it going. Well, you guys came through, and then the big surprise, pleasant surprise, is Alan Gottlieb, after we get about $3,000 in it, Alan says, tell you what, SAF will match it. So we are there. We are moving on, and now we're going to see how many billboards we can get. So we want to keep this thing rocking and rolling. So if you'd like to get involved, and I've got people saying, look, I didn't have a lot. I put $5 in. $5 helps. If you got $100, put $100 in. Or put $20 in. Cost of a box of ammo. Whatever you got. Go to SAF.org, make a donation, and in the box mark it. They've got a comment box there. You can put NJ Billboard Project for New Jersey Billboard Project. See what we get going. As soon as we have this up, we put it out on Twitter, and you'll be able to see it and what we're doing there. 866 Talk Gun. Wayne is on line 3 out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Hello, Wayne. You're on Gun Talk.
Hello. I just had one question to ask you about storing ammunition dry.
Okay.
I was wondering if it would affect the powder.
Whoop. Where'd he go? Oh, we lost him. He wanted to ask if it would affect the powder to store the ammo with dry ice to keep it cold. Well, I have a couple thoughts on that, but it actually leads me to an interesting thing. We just did some testing with ammo in dry ice, believe it or not, weirdly enough. First of all, you can store ammo in dry ice, but that's only going to keep it cold for a few hours or maybe a day or two max. It's not going to stay cold in there because dry ice sublimates, which is the process of going directly from a solid to a gas without going to a liquid. It's called sublimation. It goes to CO2. So it's not going to stay cold very long. So I don't think that's going to help you. Basically, if you want to store ammunition, store it in conditions where you would be comfortable, not too hot, and not too wet. Those are the real issues. And he was calling from Louisiana. That means not outside in a storage bin somewhere, someplace that is climate controlled. Is where you want to store your ammo. But yeah, we just had a chance to shoot some ammo and test it, having cold soaked it, and then test it when we heated the devil out. Well, I'll tell you what, we're up against the break. When we come back, let me tell you what happens when you run ammo down to 10 below zero and run it up to 140 degrees and then shoot rifle ammo out at 500 yards. How big a group do you get? What kind of spread do you get with those temperature extremes? Well, I'll tell you what, it shocked the devil out of me, I'll tell you that.
You don't have to agree with Tom to participate in the show. Call now with any of your concerns about guns, gun rights, or particular firearms, or suggestions for your shooting activity or personal protection. 1-866-825-5486. Gun Talk is coming right back.
We had a caller a minute ago asking about storing ammo in dry ice. Yeah, I said, I don't think that's going to do much good because the dry ice is going to evaporate or actually sublimate pretty quickly. But recently, just a few weeks ago, we went out to the range and we were doing some testing actually for the Guns and Gear TV show. And we were shooting some ammo from Outback, Australian Outback Ammo. Interesting stuff. The stuff is made in Australia. It's a big, major company down there. And they have something they call ballistic temperature independence. In other words, they've developed this powder that's not affected by cold and heat. And as you probably know, when you shoot a cartridge, it's a chemical reaction inside. That's when the powder burns. That's a chemical reaction. If it starts at a very high temperature versus a very cold temperature, it affects the rate of the chemical reaction. Makes sense. Well, we know from basic science class that that's how that would work. Well, out at several hundred, 500 yards, something like that, you could get as much as a 7 to 12-inch different point of impact from real hot to real cold. So we went out to the range, and we had a bunch of .308 ammo in dry ice, and we had an infrared thermometer and checked it, and it was like, 10, 15 degrees below zero. And we had ammo at 100 and I think it was either 130 or 140 degrees. And we shot it all at 500 yards, and basically the group was just a group. In other words, at 500 yards, the difference between shot-to-shot variance in a group was as big as the difference between the cold and the hot loads. I was pretty much knocked out. I honestly did not expect that. They call it ballistic temperature independence. Australian Outback Ammo. Let's see, what do they got? They got 223 and 308 ammo. If you are interested in that, go to their website. It's correction. It's outbackammo.com.au. The .au is because they're in Australia. So it's outbackammo.com.au. Impressive stuff. Also, you'll be able to see it on our Guns and Gear TV show. Let's pick up Nate in Lafayette, Louisiana on line 1. Nate, got about a minute for you, so dive in, please.
I just wanted to put out the word that the SIG arm braces to put on AR pistols, a police officer in Colorado Springs sent a letter to the ATF asking if this was legal to shoulder instead of putting it around your arm. And the ATF wrote him a letter back saying that because it's a brace, it is entirely legal.
Exactly. What the ATF said was, look, we don't care how you hold it or where you hold it if you got this arm brace on an AR-15 pistol, which was originally designed for a disabled veteran. And they said, if you want to put that brace up against your cheek and shoot it that way, that's not our problem, and it's perfectly legal. So, because there was some weird internet stuff, people saying, well, you can shoot it off of your arm, but if you put it against your face, somehow that's illegal, which doesn't make sense at all. But it's good information to get out there. Do you have one of these, by the way?
No, but I really want one.
They're pretty slick. At first I thought AR-15 pistols were kind of goofy and didn't have a need, and then Tiger McKee started playing around with them and trying them. And I listen to the guys I respect, and when Tiger said, hey, look, this thing really does have some pretty good self-defense application, I went, okay, AR-15 pistol. Well, you got a lot of ammo, and you got a lot more power than you got in most pistols for self-defense use. The sighting is, of course, the issue. And look, I appreciate the call. If you're using an AR-15 pistol for home defense, something like that, I was thinking, what would I want to do? Probably put a big reflex sight on it. You know what I'd probably do? I'd probably stick maybe one of those green lasers, maybe the Crimson Trace, Railmaster Pro. It's got a light and laser. I don't want a green laser on that son of a gun. I think that would work like a charm. Hey, when we come back, we're going to be taking your calls, 866-TALK-GUN, talking about a judge that says AR-15s do not fall under the Second Amendment. Yeah, really, he said that. Be right back.
No black helicopters here, just the facts about gun rights and gun ownership. This is Gun Talk.